Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is now 9:01 a.m. and we would like to call the meeting to order. Before I begin, I'd like to first introduce the members of your board who are present today. First that I see on our screen is Mr. Lucio Ko, followed by Ms. Hilda Pico. Then our putative and incoming Secretary of Labor, Director Laguesma. Welcome. I see Director Robert Kokeng is online. Director Conrad Gloria. Mrs. Susan Ko is there. Carlos Chung is here with us. Of course, our Corporate Secretary, Michael Lau, is with us. Director Dodge Dayao is there. Good morning.
Morning.
I see Levy Labra. He's online as well. Maning Mendoza. I heard Greg Yu is online. I can't see his picture. And of course, our President May C. And I'm not sure. Jack, I see you, Jack. Welcome to Jack Wang. Welcome to the meeting. I'm not sure. Jimmy. Good morning, Jimmy Bautista's online. Maybe we know from the Secretary if notices for today's annual stockholders meeting were distributed to the stockholders as required by the issuances of the Securities and Exchange Commission, and if there is a quorum for the transaction of business.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Following the SEC's guidelines on alternative modes of distributing the notices, we have caused the publication in 2 newspapers of general circulation for 2 consecutive days in both print as well as online format. I also certify that they are present today via audio and video conferencing stockholders owning a total of 409,786,503 shares, representing 85.26% of the capital stock. We therefore have a quorum for the transaction of business, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. We now come to the approval of the minutes of the previous meetings of the stockholders, which was the annual meeting held on June 15, 2021, and the special meeting last March 15, 2022.
Mr. Chairman, to save time and considering that the minutes have been made available to the stockholders, I move that the reading of the minutes of the previous annual stockholders meeting held on June 15, 2021, and the special meeting on March 15, 2022 be dispensed with, and that such minutes be approved without reading.
I second the motion.
It has been moved and seconded that the reading of the minutes of the annual and special stockholders meetings be dispensed with, and that the same be approved without reading. Are there any objections from the floor? If there are none, the motion is hereby approved. Next item is the management report for the year ended December 31, 2021. I now call on the President to discuss this in more detail.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A pleasant morning to everyone. 2021 has been a year of both challenges and opportunities for PBCOM. While making plans had initially been difficult, we have taken the right measures, narrowed down variables, and ensured that we take advantage of the reopening of the economy. I am very pleased to share that the plans have proven effective and delivered the optimum results for 2021. But we could not have done this alone. We are grateful to all PBCOM stakeholders, the board, management and employees, customers and partners, regulators, and our shareholders. We all worked as one and fulfilled our corporate promise that together we grow.
We are proud to announce PBCOM's exceptional financial performance for year ending December 2021, with a consolidated net income of 1.57 billion pesos, the highest since the entry of the Lucio Group in 2014. The increase in net income, 34.6% higher versus comparable period in 2020, came on the back of improved performance of its core businesses and normalized provision for credit losses. This translated to a return in equity of 11.78% in 2021, from 9.79% in 2020, while return on assets was at 1.49% from 1.15%. The bank's focus on core businesses such as corporate lending and generation of low-cost deposits has provided the bank a steady income despite market uncertainties. The bank's deposit volume growth was led by a 30% growth in low-interest bearing deposit, representing 60.4% of the total deposits. Robust growth in earning assets coupled by low-cost funding source improved net interest margin to 4.83%. Total assets reached 100.23 billion pesos in 2021, while capital strengthened to 14.18 billion pesos. PBCOM's Common Equity Tier 1 and Capital Adequacy ratios were at 15.58% and 18.18% respectively, in excess of the required regulatory ratios.
So we propose to take up the discussion of the report and any other matters which any stockholder may wish to take up at the end of the meeting, so that we can proceed with the agenda in an orderly fashion and have more time for discussion later on. Can I request a motion to approve the management report?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the management report just rendered on the audited financial statements be approved and made part of the records of the bank.
I second the motion.
Are there any objections? If there are none, the motion is approved. The next item is the ratification and approval of all the corporate acts of the Board of Directors and management since the last annual stockholders meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I move that all acts, proceedings, transactions, and agreements authorized by and entered into by the Board of Directors, Executive Committee, and officers of the bank for and on behalf of the bank from the last annual stockholders meeting to date be approved, confirmed, and ratified.
I second the motion.
Are there any objections? If there are none, then the motion is approved. The next item is on the agenda is the election of the members of the Board of Directors. It is mandatory that independent directors be elected to the board. There are at least 5 slots for independent directors on our board. Only nominees whose names appear in the final list of candidates shall be eligible for election. Mr. Secretary, can you inform the body of the nominations that the corporation has received for the election to the Board of Directors?
Mr. Chairman, the Nominations Committee has received, evaluated, and approved the nominations for election of the following as members of the Board of Directors for the year 2022 to 2023. For regular directors, Eric O. Recto, Leonardo B. Dayaw, Patricia P.C., Lucio L. Co., Susan P. Co., Bunsit Carlos Chichong, Gregoria T.U., Levi B. Labra, Jack E. Huang, Jaime J. Bautista. And for independent directors, Conrado A. Gloria Jr., Bienvenido E. Laguesma, Emmanuel Y. Mendoza, Hilda E. Pico, and Robert Y. Coque.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the nominations be closed and that the secretary be directed and authorized to cast all votes of the stockholders present or represented at this meeting equally among the 15 nominees.
I second the motion.
Are there any objections from the floor? There being none, the motion is approved. The secretary is hereby directed and authorized to cast all votes of the stockholders present or represented at this meeting equally among the nominees. I will now therefore declare that the 15 nominees as the duly elected members of the board of directors for the current year to act as such until their successors are duly elected and qualified in accordance with the bylaws. Next item is the appointment of the bank's external auditor.
I move that the accounting firm of SGB and Company be reappointed as the external auditors of the company for the current year ending December 31, 2022.
I second the motion.
Are there any objections? There being none, the motion is approved. The firm of SGV and Company is therefore reappointed as our external auditor for the current year ending December 31, 2022. As stated earlier, we can now have a discussion on the management report and any other matters which the stockholders may wish to take up. Participating stockholders are also given the opportunity to submit questions or remarks via the live stream portal by using the Q&A button found at the bottom of your screens. Stockholders may also send in questions in advance or during the meeting to the corporate secretary at the following email address, which is corporatesecretary@pbcom.com.ph. Mr. Secretary, are there any questions from the stockholders?
Mr. Chairman, we have checked our email and the Q&A portal in this platform, and we have none.
Okay. I assume that everything is in order and we can now move to adjournment. If there are no other matters, the chair will entertain a motion for adjournment.
I move that the meeting be adjourned.
I second the motion.
Thank you. It has been moved that the meeting be adjourned. If there are no objections, the meeting is hereby adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.